Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And with that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsors. Organic herbs and botanicals, skincare and edibles, wellness for body and mind. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. Ronald Records. From indie gems to classic hits, discover the heart of local music. With live shows all the time, up close and personal, and regular releases on their in-house label. Ronald Records. Supporting the community, one track at a time. All right, thank you all so much for watching. Again, shout out The Brothers Apothecary, Ronald Records, and Portland Water. Thanks for keeping us hydrated. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
What's good? JDON, Portland, Oregon.
Hello.
How you doing?
Doing all right, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, who you are, where you're from, what you do. Give us that Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
Portland, Oregon. They call me J Don. A little bit about my music. It's just, I'm a very, diverse artist. So, for example, right, I would say something I get compared to would be very mellow, Bay/Southern California vibes. Mm-hmm. But my style accent is very Northwest.
Yeah.
Portland, you know what I mean?
Yeah, very much so. So have you been up here your whole life?
Yeah, born and raised.
Okay. Yeah, definitely when I was listening to your music, it felt very very coastal. You know what I mean? It definitely kind of has a feel of a lot of down there and a lot of up here.
Yeah.
What got you into music initially?
I've always been into music. I've always written stuff since I was a little kid. Mm-hmm. And I would say I've just always been really into music since freaking before I could think of. I tell her all the time, the first songs I ever remember hearing, mm-hmm. Going back in my life, as a kid, mm-hmm. was probably Bone Thugs, Thuggish Ruggish Bone, and Biggie's Big Papa, and Tupac's California Love, because my mom, she grew up in the 90s, so that was her music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then right around the age of 12, mm-hmm. or no, it was 11 actually, I 11 to 12, I rapped for the first time, just messing around and it was with a friend. I was smoking with my buddy, mm-hmm. and we were at the park, and he told me, he's that's dope. You should just keep going.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did.
Oh yeah. And was anybody in your household musical growing up, or anybody family wise? Or you
my uncles generation? Were all DJs, party DJs for cumbia and salsa music. So mm-hmm. they would throw big events for a lot of the Latino culture in Portland,
gotcha.
Way back in the day.
Yeah.
So I grew up around that, but it wasn't really hip hop. You know what I mean? That was kind of something that I took on myself, and then, which is cool because around the same time that I started rapping, mm-hmm. within the same amount of time, I met my boy OAX, which became a brother to me, and he single-handedly produced all of my albums.
Okay, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it sounds like you kind of had music around you in some way, shape, or form growing up for the most part.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then before we get into more of what you're doing in the present day, I have a couple foundation questions that I check in with everybody on.
Yeah,
the first one, it's one we ask early, it's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
First album that I bought with my own money. I keeping it real with you, bro. I buy so much. You could ask my wife. One thing I do for fun is go to record stores mm-hmm. to this day. Mm-hmm. So I would not be able to remember. I will say this though: it had to be a West Coast G-Funk album.
Okay,
I know that for a fact.
What's one of the earliest ones you can remember?
Can remember buying from way back.
Yeah, goes far back.
It was Portland stuff, man. It would be like probably Cool Nuts.
Okay.
First Game for the People.
Mm-hmm.
My buddy had a cassette tape of what's it called? It was Gism Funk. It was the song Funk Mode was in that tape, but it was On a Mission. There you go.
Okay, hell yeah.
He let me borrow it. It wasn't mine.
Yeah.
I really liked it. And then another one that I had Too Short's Getting It album. Everybody had Tupac's album. I had the East Siders by Snoop Dogg. Presents the East Siders. That was definitely one of the very first that I ever bought.
Hell yeah.
So if I was to break it down, it would be the East Siders with Presents by Snoop Dogg.
Damn, that's rad. I'm glad we got there.
Yeah.
And then what?
Man, you had me digging too. I was like, fuck, what was it? I was like, that's one of the earliest that I can really think. That and Chicano rap too, because I did have around the same time I bought that one. I remember now I bought Conejo's CD. What was it? It was the Best of Conejo Volume 2, I think.
Okay.
He's a LA rapper. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then what was one of the first live shows you ever went to? That was like specifically one you wanted to go to, so like you saw it was happening.
It was Bone Thugs.
Okay, hell yeah.
It was Bone Thugs, and then it was Immortal Technique. I went with a buddy of mine.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Damn, I bet that was wild.
It was cool, man. Like, I got to meet him, too. He signed one of my old hats, but I can't find it. But it is what it is. It was, the signature is cool and all, but the experience of having that, like, 5 minutes to be able to have that one-on-one conversation with him.
Yeah, that moment.
Kind of adjusted something. But he was really a really humble guy.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah, he's
that
a very humble
down to
guy.
earth,
Yeah.
which is definitely, it kind of makes sense because his music is so like present and gripping. You know what I mean? It's like you kind of have to be to be able to like make music like that.
Well, that's the beautiful part about it, right? Because it's like I tell my wife, and then that's my kid in the background.
Yeah, no.
I tell my wife all the time, like, I don't understand how some artists can be in such a way of life and then be assholes to people. You know what I mean? Like, that's very fucked up for me. I even have said it in music. Like, if you see me in the street, say what's up, I'm usually always gonna say hi back or even chop it up, because I've had the moments, when you meet somebody that you want to meet and they're kind of dicks and you're kind of like, man, fuck this dude. So being an artist myself, I don't want to give someone that representation of myself. I want them to be able to be like, oh man, I got to speak with him. He was a super chill dude. So to me, that's beautiful, right? Because it's not just me doing the music, but it's also the people that listen to my music that make it more possible for me to keep doing what I am doing.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's a good way to approach it for sure. And then before we get into you in the present day, do you have a defining moment where you decided you wanted to take music more seriously?
Last year.
Okay, what happened last year?
So here's the thing, right? I made music. I've always made music since way back. Like, I used to, when I met OAX, I was going to break that down too. So the guy that makes my beats, right? He's like my brother. I met him around the time that I started rapping. He started making beats. And he became a super producer. What I mean by that is he doesn't just stick to one genre. He can hop in any genre of music and make a really good beat to whatever it is. Which is why I'm able to also be so diverse, because it's not just me being diverse, it's him being diverse with me. You know what I mean? So that's crazy. To me, that's a super producer, because he can go anywhere and still make it happen. So, man, recording music, when I started recording, before I had a microphone, I used to record on a cassette recorder. So I would buy the blank cassettes and just pop the little mic up and rap like that and give it to my friends. And they didn't even have freaking cassette players, so they would just go to like a thrift store and buy a little boombox looking thing and just pop it in there.
Hell yeah. Damn, that's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been pretty serious about it, like, since the process kind of began.
See, but that was the beginning,
that's what I'm saying. What happened last year?
So I had to step away from it. I had a lot of personal things in my life that I was dealing with. A lot of, wilding out, because I was young too. I'm not that old either. I'm 27. I'm going to be 28, but I was just, living my life, you know what I mean? Doing my thing. I even lived in Los Angeles for a year. Yeah. Went out there for a bit. I can get into details about that, but I don't really like to, because, people be haters in
no,
general,
that's fair.
so.
But yeah,
But I came back home. And when I came back home, I just seen like homies dropping shit. I seen Peso dropping videos, like, damn, he's Mexican. And one of my homies talked to me and he said, hey, bro, like, you got dope spits too. Nobody really raps for the Southeast area that we're from like that. Like, why don't you rap still? And I really got to thinking, bro, I was like, damn, you know, like he's right. He has a point.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt greedy. Like I felt like I had just so much stuff built in and I wasn't giving it out.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I just started writing the East Side tape.
Mm-hmm.
And which is crazy because if you look at my discography, right, it goes Pacific Wonderland, then the East Side.
Mm-hmm.
That was an error. The East Side was supposed to drop first, and then Pacific Wonderland was supposed to drop in the winter.
Oh, interesting.
But the Pacific Wonderland got mixed first, and then the East Side, so I just had to drop that one, and then the other one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, hey, that's sometimes how it happens, but they're still both solid. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But now let's go ahead and let's get on into you in the present day, and we're gonna get a super easy one out of the way. How'd you pick the name?
J-Don?
Mm-hmm.
J-Don stands for Don Javier. It's just my name, but I just flipped it.
Yeah.
It's because my name, that's my real name. So I just honestly, it's just Don and that, because in Spanish, right, like in the cultures, when the older like Latino males, you know, like the abuelitos and all that, when you meet them, it's like, oh, Don this or Don this, and then Doña this and Doña this. So I just picked that because I'm like, oh, that's me, and it's my name.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna flip it.
Hell yeah.
That's the name.
No, I dig that. And it's like, it's simple, but it's not like boring. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to remember. It's easy to identify. And I imagine it wasn't taken. So you know what I mean? Like you didn't have to worry about dealing with like SEO and things like that.
Right.
Hell yeah. But now let's go ahead and let's talk about your writing process. And we're going to break it up into chunks, but we're going to start right at the beginning. So when you get inspired, you're ready to make music. What are some of the things you do to get a track started?
Honestly, bro, if like people, my own friends would tell you, I'm surprised, my buddy was on here, Damien. I'm surprised he didn't even bring that up because the Roadmasters tape, I did that in a span of 2 days, maybe even a day and a half. Because my wife will tell you too, like when I like a beat, I'll just pop a headphone in and just sit there and I'm done. And then I'll just go record it. So as far as writing goes, if I really like a beat, I'm just going to go in and do the damn thing, That's what I meant by I said, like, I feel greedy because I feel like I do it so naturally that it was only fair for me to drop music. And a lot of times I say this, I make music for myself because I'm also a lowrider. Like, I was a part of La Rosa's car club. That's why I got my LR on my hat.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't have a lot of Latinos in general, Portland rap from way back in the 90s, G-Funk to lowride too. So that's another thing where I meant by like I felt greedy.
Yeah.
So I became that voice for my friends at lowride, for myself more so.
Yeah.
Because that's why I say all the times I make the music for myself, but it's also for everybody else that that didn't have that in Portland, or the future young Latino rappers coming from my area that they didn't rap. Like, matter of fact, speaking of that, I had a kid hit me up the other day. He sent me his song. And he tells me, like, yo, what do you think about this, man? It would mean a lot to me if you gave me your point of view on it.
Yeah.
And it made me feel good because I remember being that kid trying to get the, point of views from other Portland artists, but there wasn't really Mexicans like that. And a lot of them is kind of, Portland has a lot of hate in the game, which I really wish wasn't like that. So my response to that kid was honestly just like, if this is what you want to do, just know it's not easy.
Yeah.
And you just got to stay consistent and keep doing it. And then he told me, like, would you ever make a song with me? And I told him straight up, I was like, look, man, just keep working. When the time comes, that could happen. I'm not going to say no to you. Yeah. And that was it.
Hell yeah. Hey, that's a good way to be about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he appreciates that a lot. Getting back to your writing style, though, when you get a track finished writing, and so like it can, I mean, just given how quickly you do things, I imagine it doesn't take long to get it, recorded and such as well. But how long does it usually take you to get comfortable to the point where you can perform it? Perform the song? Yeah. Like live? Yeah.
I mean, the most people I performed in front of was like 10,000 people. So damn. For me, I say this all the time too. I'll perform it. If they're going to tell me, give me at least a week, and that's only just to kind of listen to it and get comfortable with it. Because even though it's my song, at the end of the day, I write so much music, bro, I don't remember my
it's hard to retain all of it.
I mean, think about it, dude. Last year I did 5 albums back to back. It's a lot of music.
It is a lot of music.
Show, you know what I mean? Most people can't even knock out one tape in a year. Yeah. So I would straight up tell people like, oh, give me like a week, and then I'll choose the songs that I feel like most people are really liking at the time, and then I'll do it. But I also don't do shows unless they pay me. That's a really big thing, you know, for me. Like, if they're not gonna pay me, I'm not gonna do a show.
That's fair.
Yeah,
no, I dig that for sure. And then actually checking out some of your music. I mean, you got music that goes back to 2021 on Spotify, but like I said, 2023 seems like the big year. You definitely put out a ton of stuff. And I mean, the first note I have here is that your music is super West Coast, super G-Funk. It's got that very, very like
I got it tattooed on my hands.
Yeah, see, that's the way it goes. But also your flow is super consistent. Like even going back to Block Party, like you just kind of had it locked in since the beginning.
Right.
And I was listening to your most recent album, Mr. Cruz, and it's cool. It's cool. I mean, it definitely a solid continuation of your sound. Not a ton of features, but all strong ones. That's kind of I appreciated about that. It was Peso LL and Damie.
That's my boy.
Yeah. And I like that you had Peso, Damie, Peso, and then you bookended like individual songs by yourself. That was kind of a cool way to arrange it.
So a lot of my songs, when I do the album, right, basically just kind of do them, and then at the end I start putting it together. So the way I do that is I listen to the last 10 seconds of a song. And the first 10 seconds of another song.
And see what blends. Yeah.
Because if it doesn't transition well, it's crap.
No,
Believe
totally.
It or not, that's a really big process.
The arrangement is one of the most important parts of the album.
So I do it all the time, and that just happens naturally. Like, I didn't try to do that. It's just they just sounded better back to back.
No. I figured it was kind of not intentional. Like you're like, oh, it has to be. But I appreciated that it ended up that way because it was just kind of a cool space.
Going back to your thing of the not too many features. So the reason I like to add Peso and Damien is because I joined the Hustle Heads. I want to say also in 2023 because I own the Cruisers Entertainment with OAX.
Yeah.
And that's our own thing, but I joined the Hustle Heads as an artist because the way I looked at it, and I've said this to people heard me say this, is Peso was already doing the Hustle Heads. It's going good. He's representing the North for Latinos. Nobody on the team was really from the east of Portland, which is the bigger side of Portland if you know Portland. And honestly, man, like I loved what he does. He's on that funk. He's on the same vibe as me, so is Damie. And I love Damie, and we were hanging out a lot already.
Yeah.
And then one day, me and Damie kind of just like corner Peso on some friendship. Was like, hey, bro, like, why don't I just join?
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't know if you really want. And I told him, I was like, look, bro, you got your following. I have my following. Why have people look at every window of the house when they can just open the door?
Hell yeah.
And we're all right there. Boom.
Hell yeah.
That'll put more money in my pocket, your pocket, his pocket, all as a group. Compared to just being separate. And people, because especially in rap, people always feel like, oh, I'm gonna side with this guy more.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's not do that. Let's just connect it together. So now all the Latinos that listen to our rap are just like, it's one group. I'm gonna listen to every single one of them.
Hell yeah. No, I love that. That's rad. That's super like collaborative and communal at the same time.
Because a lot of people in Portland, they all want to be the main face. That's not what it's about.
No.
That's not what music is about in general. And that's one thing that I understand. And that's one thing that he understands and he understood. So it was cool that we just kind of got together and we're like, because at the end of the day, he does what he does. I do what I do. I bring what I got to the table. And I'm pretty sure he respects and loves what I do too, for the team.
Yeah. And
I personally think like I bring a good sound to the table of the Hustlehead group.
Yeah.
So it's dope. And then as far as features, the reason I don't have a lot of features is because I don't like to. I feel like, I can't even say that. I can't say I don't like to. I like to. I just don't have the time.
Yeah. No, I mean, especially when you're pumping them out that fast. You know what I mean? Like, you can turn out tracks of your own. So what? But I mean, like,
but I'm impatient.
Yeah.
Like I don't like waiting. Like if
if you want something done, you want them back.
I want it done then and there or within the next 3 days. Because when people have bought a feature from me, I give it back to them sometimes the same day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the type of person I am. Like, you bought it from me, I look at it like, damn, you really spending money, man? You believe in me like that? Boom, I'm going to give it to you. I'll tell them to. I'll be like, give me within a day or two, sometimes 3 if I'm busy.
Yeah.
For sure, that's it. Like, it's not going over.
Yeah. No, I dig that. Hell yeah. And I mean, I checked out some of your other albums, and you've definitely got a couple of features on there. So you definitely got some people on. But no, I can tell that you're pretty particular about them, and it usually works out when it does.
Yeah.
But I also do this bit where I pick out a track that I really liked.
Okay.
And I actually went with one from your most recent album, and it was What's Life with Damie.
Oh.
And I got to tell you, I mean, first of all, the beat is a vibe. Like it sits really well. It has this like chill, airy feel to it.
Oh yeah.
The super subtle guitar and the soft pad sounds blend well. The bass is just right. But there was something about that track in particular from your performance that really stood out to me. You were you just felt like, cause you're pretty locked in general, but there was just something about how you rode the beat in that track that it felt kind of like, I don't like to use the word perfect, but it was really just dialed. It was really dialed in for that one. And then that was a track that I think Damie really also could expand on. You know what I mean? Like that's a range that he excels really well in. So it was just from start to finish, it was a really, really good track. Mm-hmm. And so I really like that one a lot.
I'm glad you do, man. Yeah. Thank you so much.
But I am curious to know, what are some of your favorite tracks to perform?
I just did my last performance in Portland. Was it this month? Last month. I did my last performance in Portland last month, and I chose a lot of my personal favorites. Pick a number and I'll tell you the tracks.
Let's do track 4.
Let's do track 4. Okay, so 4. I would say out of all of my albums, like all in all.
Oh no, I mean like of the ones you performed.
Oh, of the performance
yeah.
I did. Operator. I'm pretty sure that was How We Ride with Damie, and it was off of the Market Runs tape. Yeah, that's one of my favorites, man. That shit is, that's a knocker, bro. Like, I like that song because it's very up, like super energetic. Damie just went crazy. I like to make voices. I don't know if you heard my stuff, but I like to make skits, like almost like movie skits.
No, that was actually something that stood out for a lot of yours.
That one was one of the first that I dropped for Market Runs with a skit.
Okay.
And I really liked it. I just liked the energy. I liked because like I said, I'm a car guy. So it's all about like cars. And so that's definitely one of my favorites. And I'll just jump into the favorites after that. So Living a Dream. I don't know if you heard that one.
I have.
I wrote that one when my son was born, a little after he was born, and it wasn't a song for him. It was more of the energy of the song. I was just in a very good mood, like I was very happy. And if you listen to the song, you can kind of feel like the good energy coming out of the song. You know what I mean? So that's one of my favorite songs. I ended my show with that song.
Hell yeah.
We the Cruisers, I really love that song because it was kind of like an introduction of me telling people like, this is what this is going to be. This is who we are. This is who I am. Like it or not, it's going to stay. Another favorite of mine would have to be Street Dreams off the East Side tape. It's just, I feel like it's timeless, the beat, just because it's such a simple beat, but the way that I go on it is just, if you listen to it, you're going to be like, damn, like this is a song. This is not just a rap song. This is like this guy's an artist as far as music. And I don't like saying stuff like that because then people be like he's cocky. But I just kind of look at it as like I work personally myself so hard to get to the point that I'm at in my music. So I don't just see it as my music. I also respect my own artwork of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. I could appreciate that for sure. And that's a good way to go about it in general.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's important. But also, I just appreciate how much of your own music you can kind of live in. And, for a guy who doesn't remember a lot of the songs, you remember a lot of the messages. And I think that's ultimately the most important thing.
Yeah.
So,
but most of them have messages, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then looking at new music you're working on, so you don't have to like give us like track lists and drops and things like that, but like looking at new stuff you're working on, what can we look forward to? How would you describe new music you're working
on? Funky.
Okay.
Very funky.
Hell yeah.
Which is also wild because I was not even going for funk when I did that album. I was going for mellow cruise vibes again, like the Cruisers. And then my great friend of mine, DJ Ozrock, rest in peace, he was gonna become the all-time DJ for the Hustle Heads that I was trying to introduce Peso to. He was found murdered on the side of I-5 like the week or two before my show.
Mm-hmm.
And I got thinking, right? I was like, damn, what did he really like from my music? And I remember he told me he really liked my funk tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So I transitioned the whole thing into like straight up funk, like G-funk, like gangster rap funk. Like people were gonna see the true meaning of funk through my
through your interpretation.
Through my interpretation.
Yeah.
Of it.
Hell yeah.
As far as G-funk goes.
Damn. Well, definitely looking forward to that because that's personally one of my favorite genres. Like
people don't know. I actually started rapping in G-funk.
Okay.
People always think like because most of my music is very mellow, but I used to rap only G-funk.
Yeah.
And it was very aggressive. It was very just uplifted, but I also was younger and I got older, and I was like, that's not really what I'm trying to push out too much because I was told by someone like the energy that you put out there is the energy that you're going to receive through your music. So I kind of stepped back from it, right? Because I'm like, I can't really do that. I gotta, be in a better mind state, my like place, for myself, for certain things. And then with this album, I told my wife, I'm just gonna surprise everybody and give them what they've been wanting from me, which is that funk. A lot of people are always like, when are you gonna drop some funk?
Yeah.
Hey, when are you gonna hit me up with some funk? Like, that's gonna be the interlude too. It's just a bunch of voicemails of people telling me when's that cruise control gonna drop.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to that. I'm super excited for that one.
Man, it's crazy.
Hell yeah. And now let's take a moment and let's zoom out. We're gonna kind of look at music as a whole.
Okay.
So what are some of the things about either newer music in general or just newer music to you that you enjoy and you're finding inspiration from right now?
I listen to a lot of funk, bro. So I've been listening to like when it comes, because when I'm riding the car, I listen to the same stuff. I like to stick to certain genres when I'm working on certain music. But a lot of times, if it's not, I listen to a lot of funk. Like I've listened to Daboul from France. You know who that is?
Yep.
Yeah, he
big fan.
That Sweet Baby or Sweet Love album, banging. That thing is off the hook.
Yeah. His music in general is really impressive.
I listen to a lot of stuff from like Penrose Records, like the newer age, like oldie style soul music from but most of them are Latino, which is really cool. Like Big Time Records too. They got a lot of dope stuff. So I listen to a lot of soul and funk when I do write my music. Yeah. I don't listen to rap.
I've mentioned this name on a few other episodes before, including Dami's. Do you listen to Desi Hollow?
No.
Okay.
Keep it honest with you. I know who it is, but the way I look at things is these are all people doing around the style that I'm kind of doing too around my own, and I don't really want to because I don't
so you don't want to pull that. Okay, so you don't want to get too close to home.
But don't get me wrong, he's cool. Like I from the snippets that I have heard, like it's dope. Like it's definitely that G-funk. It's definitely cruise music, and I like it.
I would look into like what he's doing. Like I think you could just take a lot from his like approach to things, not so much his music even, but just like the way that he's going about it, how he's including the culture, like how he's including his family even. So it's a really cool story.
Yeah. He does a lot. He does a lot of like I said, I've seen his stuff and I think it's really cool, right? But it's also like Latino culture, especially like Chicano Latino, like gangbang culture. It's cool, but it's also like it's kind of hard to incorporate it when like some of your peeps get along with some peeps, some of your peeps don't get along with this other peep that you got.
No, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? And then being in Oregon, California, it's a little different. They have their whole politic thing kind of locked down. So it's a little more understanding on the money side of it. So they're kind of all like, more people are kind of more like, we're going to kick back. Oregon is just a melting pot, bro. It's it's something else, man. People don't know how to chill out for a little bit. It's just wild. But,
I got you.
But I do try to incorporate, like I mentioned my wife pretty often. I mentioned my son pretty often. I mentioned my family. I do mention my friends. I talk about my people in all of my music. I always do mentions. I mentioned my streets where I grew up. It's just, I feel like it's hard to do something that way, right? Because it's also, that's not me.
Yeah, no, I got
you. Know what I mean? Being from Oregon, like I feel like I'm trying to do it in a way that people are like, okay, he got his own style. And I've had people tell me before, why don't you try to crowd? And what I tell them all the time is just, that's California.
Mm-hmm.
This is Oregon.
Yeah.
Much love to them. But I'm trying to like friendly compete. You know,
I got you.
Like I'm trying to show y'all what we got, what we have in store for you guys. You know, and in the future, if you know, God blesses it and it comes upon to do a future with you know, the homie and stuff or any of the other cats, that'll be cool. And I'm all for it. And I'm looking forward to it. And I know I would kill it.
Oh, yeah. No, I dig that. Now, before we move into the next portion, which is all hypothetical questions, we've got one last question to go in this middle portion. And it's probably the densest question in the interview. But, you know, we've talked a lot about your experiences, the actions, the reactions. But when it's just you and the music one-on-one, what does music give back to you?
Music, just like cars, it's just a passion of mine. It's a release of anger. It's a release of stress. It's like a therapy to me, and music gives me back happiness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Music gives me back comfort. It gives me back peace. It takes me to moments in my life that I remember not worrying about anything.
Yeah.
So it's something that I kind of take upon and just hold on to, as far as like whenever I make a song, I think like maybe one day some kid's gonna look back at my music and this specific song is gonna be his reminder of his youth, you know, of his childhood, like hanging out with his buddies, doing what they do. So for me, music gives me back in ways that sometimes I can't even explain, but it's all good. It's all love. It's happiness, you know what I mean? Like, that's the best way I could say. Music gives me back happiness, man. I enjoy it. I love doing it. And like I told my wife, even if I never made $1 off of it, I would always do it because it's just something that I truly do because I love doing it.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
But now let's go ahead and let's get into this next portion, which is all hypothetical questions. And for these, sky's the limits. The questions are all made up, so the answers are allowed to be as well. But this first one's pretty straightforward.
All right.
If you could work with any one person, the only requirement is they have to be alive.
Oh.
Who would you want to work with, and how would you want to work with them?
Does it have to be one person?
Yeah. Or at least try to keep it to one person if you can.
Jay Worthy.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Jay Worthy.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
I dig that. And how would you work with them?
Same thing he does. Same exact thing he does is honestly the same thing I do. Honestly, the way I look at it is just if he was to throw on a beat, just give me like 10 minutes, Brody, I'll get you the verse.
Okay. Well, I mean, like, would you want to like work in the same room as him? Or would you want to just like trade verses back and forth?
You gotta work in the same room.
Okay.
You gotta work. I mean, I can work from a distance too.
Yeah.
Because I'm just that kind of musician. Like, I can read a beat. I'm very good at writing a beat, is what I've been told. But being in the same room, it's just, you don't just work on the music. You're also...
Yeah, you're interacting with the person.
You're interacting
that energy.
Besides the music, you're getting to know him.
Yeah.
It's a chill vibe most of the time because you both know what you're there for. You both clowning jokes. I was
gonna say the in between.
Me and Peso,
yeah.
We'll start talking about the track. We'll be like, bro, this is what we got to do. This is how we got to do it. I'll come and be like, bro, I'm gonna sing right here, and we're gonna do it up nice. So it's just that interaction of like.
Yeah.
I told Peso the other day. I said. I looked at him dead in his face and I said, you know what's crazy, bro? Maybe something will happen and we don't even know how big it is what we're doing right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, we're just looking at it as just another day of
just a moment
hanging out. So the personal interaction is very important.
Yeah. No, I dig that for sure. That's why I try to do all these in person.
Oh, yeah.
I could resonate that with definitely. But then for this next one, who's a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to connect with yet, but you would like to?
Give me an age range.
I don't know, close to yours. Let's see who's kind of in your space. Yeah.
That I haven't gotten to work with.
You know, let's actually do 10 and under. No, I'm kidding.
My age range. Honestly, bro, the one person that I really wanted to work with, I've already been working with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm very pro Brown, bro. Like, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way to anybody. I'm just saying like Portland didn't have a lot of it back in the day.
Mhm.
So for me, it was just making Latinos pop off with music.
Yeah.
And as far as that goes, I've worked with everybody. Like I've worked with, Peso. I've worked with Damie. I've worked with my boy DZ. I've even worked with Louis that would probably be on a compilation. I've worked with Dame now.
Mm-hmm.
I do need to work with some of the rest of the hustle heads, but like as far as that, I can't really say that's an answer for me to give because it's either happened or it's gonna happen.
Okay.
As far as the generation before me, like the older cats, I wanted to work with Cool Nuts because he's done a lot of stuff, but I already spoke with him, so we already kind of have that in the works. He kind of just told me, just get it ready and we'll make it happen. So that's already out the door. Sticky Loco, wherever he is, Cold Cat from Portland way back in the day. I would love to work with him if if you out there and you get back into music, hit me.
Oh yeah.
Maniac Loke dropped a lot of dope stuff in Portland back in the 90s too. I would love to work with him. Honestly, I can go on and on about like old Portland rappers like Al C. Like you probably won't even know some of the names that I say.
I mean, I've no
Ray, Young Randall, like oh my God, Kenny Mack, Bosco. Like there's just a lot of cats that I would want to work with that are from Portland, and it's just basically all the Portland like hip hop from the 90s that I listened to because it was my home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. Well, everybody, you just say at them in the comments and let's see if we can get them on the track. But put who you think he should work with in the comments. Let's see if we can spice it up the list a little bit. And for this next one, like I said before, sky's the limits, and it's pretty literal in this sense. But if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or building stability or power. It's guaranteed the best lineup, guaranteed the best show. And it doesn't have to be a venue. It can be anywhere. Where would you want to perform?
Japan.
Okay. Where at in Japan? Do you have like a specific
Probably Osaka.
Okay.
Osaka or Tokyo, because they have a very big like appreciation and love for the Latino lowrider and Chicano culture.
Yeah.
So I would go there just because it's somewhere personally that I've always wanted to go.
Same.
And I want to see also what they got going on with the cars because I'm a lowrider head, bro. I'm a straight up lowrider, even though I make music, that's my shit. But if I wasn't to go there, I would go to like probably the UK somewhere, like London, or I would go to like Amsterdam or somewhere because even Spain, man, they got some crazy hip hop going on in those areas.
Yeah.
Bro. Like they love that shit. And me personally, I was actually just talking to P about this. Like, I feel like there's a way to force fame, and it's by going places and just
just being present everywhere.
And I told him, I was like, we should go to Europe and just kind of do like little like shows here and there. Because even if 2 or 3 people hear our shit and then go and tell their people, that's just extra people out in another side of the world that we didn't even have. So.
Hell yeah. No, I dig that for sure.
Yeah.
And then to wrap up the hypothetical questions, if you could get one more album from anybody, they could be alive, they could be dead, they could have not put out an album in 100. Oh, okay. You had it ready. Hell yeah.
Yeah, the Jacka.
Hell yeah. No, I dig that. I mean, why did you choose him?
My favorite rapper of all time. I love the Jacka.
Hell yeah.
I feel like he spoke a lot of. He rapped most of his lyrics with his heart. Like he meant what he said. He truly believed in his words, and it was just raw. It was just gutter gritty. You can tell he loved making music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's definitely someone.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this up.
All right.
What can we look forward to between now and, let's say, January?
Cruise Control. Cruise Control album's going to be out. Maybe another video or 2, a couple singles. And then some more tapes in the coming future. So stay tuned to that.
Hell yeah. And then for this next one, go and look straight at the camera. Tell everybody how they can find you.
You can find me on anything, any platform. On Instagram, you can find me at J_DON503. You can find me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, man, anything. Just you name it. You got it, I probably have it, and it's on there. So you find me under that as J Don. The best way to look it up, though, would be JDON, and then one of my album names, because that way for sure to pop up. Most people just use market runs and then just click the artist. So
hell yeah.
Go.
And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Oh yeah, shout out to OAX, bro. I love you, man. We got more shit coming. Shout out to Peso. You know we doing it, bro. Hustle Heads. Damie got more shit with you. I want to shout out Spencer Boston too, because he just hopped on that joint with me, and I'm glad we were able to do that. Rude Boy, I got more shit coming with you. Everybody else in the Hustle Heads, you know, we doing it up big, bro. Let's get it. East Side too, Portland.
Hell yeah. Now, with that being said, we got one last question to go. But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second.
Ooh.
As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary, Ronald Records, and Portland Water. Thanks for keeping us hydrated. And with that being said, the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation.
Okay.
But what is an album you feel is more on the obscure side? So it's a deep cut. It's one not a lot of people would know, but it's one you think everybody should know.
From mine?
No, just of music in general.
From music in general?
Yeah.
I
mean, hopefully after this, everybody goes and listens to all your music. It's really good.
Just to put people on game, I would say people think that Portland rap is this or that, or they think they know best. Clearly, y'all don't know shit. No offense, no disrespect. Go back and listen to G-Ism's On a Mission tape in Portland, Maniac Lokes Straight Off the Block tape in Portland. These are all 1990s, like 94 and 95, and Al C's tape from Portland. You're going to see what real Portland was, what real Portland rap was. With that being said, Cruise Control, I'm running that right back for y'all.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for that. I'm actually
welcome.
I'm excited to check out all three of those.
Woo.
And obviously, you know, Cruise
I'll
Control
send them to you.
out. Yeah, please do.
I will.
All right, but that being said, we're going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank you so much
today.
for having me on here. Shout out to my baby boy, Tlalo. Shout out to my wife. Thank you for coming with me. Everybody else, man, I hope y'all love my music. Hope y'all enjoy everything. Shout out to Jimmy Jambox. Appreciate you.
Hell yeah.
Much love. Hustle Heads.
Thank you. And this has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
I'm JDON. What's good? Hustle Head.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap.
This is not a podcast. This is a show.
Keep jamming.